Welcome to the Advent edition of Church Chat. Our theme for today, at least, is the light. And I haven't driven around Belton very much, but going home, it seems like people are putting out more lights, and they're putting them out earlier than I remember in the past. There are a couple houses that have really gone all out with strings of lights, with nativity scenes, with polar bears, with deer, spiral trees, just um, making a real light display. And I wonder if it has something to do with the restricted way that we're going to be forced to celebrate the holidays. If you're not traveling, if you're not getting together with big family groups, maybe you have money to spend in other areas in a way to try to bring some joy and happiness. As you've probably heard, the Thanksgiving Day lighting of the plaza lights will be done virtually. So no one will be down there, but the lights will still come on. And I saw an advertisement for Longview Lake. They are having their illuminations this year. So there's lots of lights around. When we were talking about having light as our theme, one of the things that popped into my head immediately was when we celebrate Max's birthdays. The highlight of the occasion is where we bring out his birthday cake, and we have several candles in it. And the look on his face when we light the candles and he gets to blow them out has just been magical. And so, of course, once isn't enough. We have to light them again. He blows them out again, and everyone's standing around taking pictures and oohing and awing over that moment when we are all drawn to the light. And so I'm sure that Randy and Lynn have some thoughts about the light and how it draws us to one another, and most of all draws us to Christ.
So when Pastor mentioned that the topic was light, I gravitated towards John's gospel because he uses so much imagery in his gospel, and he speaks about light quite a bit. In particular, I want to read from John chapter 3, verse 19. It says, "This is the verdict. Light has come into the world, but men love darkness instead of light, because their deeds were evil. Everyone who does evil hates the light, and will not come into the light, for fear that his deeds will be exposed. But whoever lives by the truth comes into the light, so that it may be seen plainly that what he has done has been done through God." And in talking about the imagery that John uses, this drew me back to John chapter 9, where Jesus heals the blind man. And I think about the correlation between light and darkness, and it's hard to talk about the light without talking about the darkness. But we can also use that in other terms as well. It's hard to talk about good without talking about evil. It's hard to talk about righteous without mentioning unrighteous. And so when I was drawn back to John chapter 9, when Jesus heals the blind man, the correlations to me are how God reveals his truth to us, sometimes slowly. Sometimes it's like a flash of lightning, but sometimes it's a gradual. But when Jesus healed the blind man, kind of the message that I got from that is, until we actually get to know Jesus, we are kind of living blindly. And until we get into the Word of God, it's all foreign to us. Just like the blind man didn't know what kind of world he really lived in until he could see. And when Jesus restored his sight, he was exposed to a world that was hostile and cruel, where the people were judging him because they thought he was fake or whatever. But Jesus came back to him. And the part that I really like is it says, after they had thrown the man out, Jesus had heard that they had thrown him out. And when he found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" "Who is he, sir?" the man asked. "Tell me so that I may believe in him." Jesus said, "You have now seen him. In fact, he is the one speaking with you." And that doesn't happen without the light, I believe, until we actually are exposed to Jesus and see him. That's when the light really shines on us.
Well, similarly with just the loose topic light, I started thinking of all the places in the Bible that refers to light. And the one I went to was salt and light in Matthew 5. So I will read just those few verses, Matthew 5:13 through 16. "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how will it become salty again? It's good for nothing except to be thrown away and trampled under people's feet." Then he transitions, "You are the light of the world. A city on top of a hill can't be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a basket. Instead, they put it on top of a lampstand, and it shines on all who are in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before people, so they can see the good things you do and praise your Father who is in heaven." Letting your light shine is something that was hard for a girl who, believe it or not, was really introverted. And when in Sunday school, we'd sing, "Remember this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." Well, I didn't ever want anybody to look at me if my light was shining, and so that was just not part of me. But shortly after Mark and I were married, my grandpa, Lawson, gave me a set of these candlesticks. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And it turns out that he had used the wooden walnut bed frame from his grandparents' bed. So this would be my great-grandpa's bed. And I have 2 candlesticks and a paper towel holder, and he managed to make things for all the grandkids. So while it's not the most attractive candle holder, it reminds me of my grandpa. Of course, I never knew great grandpa on that side of the family. I was blessed to know on the other side, but he had lost his right leg early as a young man. He stopped to help somebody who had a flat tire and the car slid, and he lost his leg early in their marriage. And but he never used it as an excuse, and he was a very quiet, humble man, and everybody knew John Lawson, and I don't believe anybody ever found anything to dislike about John Lawson. And what I think of when I look at this candlestick is a humble Christian man who let his light shine in a very quiet way in the world. And then I decided that it's not calling attention to me if I do something that's helpful to someone else. People don't have to think that you're showing off or something. It's just what Jesus asked us to do. So now I've gone to the other extreme, and I wear crazy t-shirts that say, "May your light shine," to try to encourage other people that is what it's all about, that it's not self-aggrandizement, it's just being helpful.
As I had been thinking about the light, and as Lynn read the passage about the salt and the light, so many times Jesus was saying, "I am the light of the world," or "I am the light," and we often look to Jesus as the example and the light. But what that passage says is, you are the light. And that's a big responsibility. That's a big opportunity. You are the light of the world. If you're not shining, the world is in darkness. And so, as Lynn talked about her grandfather and her own witness, it's important, particularly in our world today that seems so full of darkness and despair, that we shine the light through love and compassion and kindness, and that when people see that light, hopefully they will be inspired. Hopefully they will be drawn to come out of the darkness and say, I want some of that light. I want to shine like you shine. So I would just encourage all of us in our discipleship, in the way that we care for one another, and the way that we reach out to folks in our homes and in our neighborhoods. So, any other thoughts? Apparently they're quiet today. Mark it on your calendar. So Advent is coming, and our theme for the season is the light. As we are recording this, Donna Shoemaker is down putting lots and lots and lots of Christmas lights on our trees. And so when you come next Sunday, if you come or watch the video of our worship service, you will see that we have lots of lights, and we will be looking to Jesus as the light of the world, but we'll also be reminded that we are the light of the world, and we'll be trying to shine and figure out different ways to do that. And
I do have a thought.
oh, there we go.
I just think that everybody should know that by the end of the morning on this past Sunday, every one of the tags was taken. And I would guess that when we come this Sunday, an awful lot of stuff will be returned. So we are being the light. It was really fun. Mark got into it yesterday. It was the first time he went shopping. I gave him half of it. He had a good time getting stuff for others who needed it. So.
Yeah, my mom called me this afternoon,
I
and
bet
she and
she's
my
fun.
dad had been shopping.
Yeah.
And Penny texted me Sunday to give me the good news that almost 80, I think it's 78 or 79 tags had been spoken for. And so there are lots of Crossroads folks out shopping, out shining the light of Christ to those in need. So we'll definitely be lighting the way this Advent and Christmas season. So in your preparations, think about how you can shine and be a part of our effort here at Crossroads to let the light of Christ shine into a dark world. Stay safe and have a great week.